welcome to episode 84 of the Life in General podcast. My name is Nick.
My name is Ian.
And do I sound quiet to you, Ian?
Not really.
The audio on the screen looks quiet. That's all I was asking.
We'll kick it up a little bit just in case.
Kick it up a notch. Pow.
I think it's BAM. Was it BAM?
Was it BAM?
I think so. I don't know.
I was just thinking of the Spice Weasel from Futurama.
Yeah, which was essentially a ripoff of that.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah.
Emerald was the.
Yeah.
But anyway, any questions or comments, you can email us at contact@lifeandjournalpodcast.com. Check us out on Twitter at LIGpod. We're on Podbean, iTunes, Google Podcast, TuneIn Radio. Hey, we're also on YouTube. We're on Podcast Addict, Spotify, just about everywhere else. Mm-hmm. And if you're feeling froggy, go ahead and hop on iTunes and leave us a 5-star review.
6-star review.
There's no 6 stars, Ian. It's 5.
Leave us 6 fucking stars, or we'll find you.
So how would they do it? Just leave a 5-star and then a 1-star?
Leave a 5-star and then put an extra star in a comment where you talk about how great our show is.
It's so good, I give you an extra star.
Exactly, in the comments.
You rotten bastards.
Because I'm assuming you can do comments, right?
Yeah.
So you give us 5 stars, and you go into the comments and say 1 extra star because they are awesome, and we love the show. That's
sure.
What I say.
Okay, that'll work.
So 6 stars, or we'll find you.
We'll hunt you down like the dogs you are.
Right.
I'm coming to find you.
Right, exactly. Don't even know your name, but we'll find you.
All 2 of you. No, we've got more reviews than that on iTunes. But
yeah.
None of them from Ian.
I didn't even know you could leave reviews. I mean,
really?
I know you could do stars and stuff. I didn't know you could.
You've never heard anyone talk about any other podcasts
about
about leaving reviews on iTunes or any of that? Or
I don't pay attention to that.
I don't think you can I don't think you can leave reviews on Podbean, but I know you used to be able to on SoundCloud when we used SoundCloud.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to look at it, but I think people do on Podbean.
Do you? I don't think I've ever seen like a review section on there. Are you looking on your phone there?
I am.
See, I don't use the Podbean app, which I probably should because our show is hosted through it.
Right.
I just because I use my Google, not Google, but I use Apple Podcast to listen to the show.
Yeah. Well, that's how I used to do my podcast, too.
Really? You use them through Apple Podcasts also?
Well, through iTunes.
I guess it's all the same.
Yeah, so.
But
you can do share, like. No, I guess you really can't. You just do share, like.
Or you can follow the show,
and
obviously.
Follow the show, yeah.
So
well, like it. If you listen to it, like it.
And listen to it only if you like Ian throwing his phone down on the desk and making.
I'll throw it again if you don't like it. I'm just saying.
Why you be so aggressive?
Well, I'm an American. It's their thing.
You're an angry white male.
I guess. My white privilege is disappearing.
I'm angry.
I'm angry.
Give me pitchfork.
No, it'd just be AK-47s or whatever. No, we don't carry pitchforks anymore. It's all guns.
Well, no, isn't that what the guys in Charlottesville had? Were like, oh no, they didn't have pitchforks. They had like torches, didn't they?
Torches,
tiki torches. That's what
yeah.
Tiki, give me my tiki torch. Nothing says angry man like tiki torch.
Right. Except for the guns.
With
they got
angry
the guns,
man with tiki torch with citronella candle. It's dark outside. We don't need no stinking mosquitoes.
Right. The citronella doesn't keep mosquitoes away.
Oh, whatever.
It doesn't. They say it does, but it doesn't.
I know. I don't think anything really keeps. I don't know. There's a new spray that you can have your yard sprayed. I guess it does actually keep them away for a while.
Does it?
Like a month or two, but.
Well, it's really all you need from like the 1st of July. Well, I guess maybe 2 months through July through September. 4th of July through Labor Day.
I think longer than that. I'd probably say till at least the end of September, especially like when it starts getting a little chill in the air,
right?
Bonfire or whatever at night.
Yeah,
there's still mosquitoes.
They start dying off when it gets too chilly, though.
Yeah, it does. When it starts getting colder at night, they will. But not that anyone gives a rat's ass about any of this.
Right. Well, I can just tell you, and I know I'm not alone, but I fucking hate mosquitoes. I cannot stand them because they eat me alive.
There's no one on this earth that's like, I love mosquitoes.
Well, there's people who wouldn't hurt a mosquito just because it's life. Like there's some Buddhist people who would be like, Wouldn't bother with them.
Those aren't real people.
They are real people. There are people who are like that.
Whatever.
There are people.
Speaking of people, so I had a rather interesting experience happen recently.
Yeah.
So I don't know, for people that listen to the show, I don't know if you know or not, but Ian and I work in the same department at the hospital.
Yeah.
And so I recently got a promotion. So I go in the office and with our department manager, kind of going over what's expected, what's going to happen, the process that's going to roll out, when it's all going to go down. And so we get to the end of this conversation, and something kind of odd happens. So first off, she asked me if I had any more questions or anything. I said, no, I think it's pretty straightforward. She's like, okay, well, now that we're done with that, I've got another question for you. Well, I've got a couple of questions for you. She's like, so I think it's like is it the PTO? I don't know if it's like the PTO or it's something involving her son's school.
Okay.
So she's on the board for something.
PTA?
What it is? Is that a PTA or?
Well, it's called different things, but I've always known it as the PT. That's what it was in my school. It's PTA when I was little.
Parent Teacher
Association.
Okay. So PTA, whatever it is. So it's something along those lines. I'm not exactly sure what it was, what organization
called,
was.
yeah.
But she's like, so I guess they're trying to get more people to come to their meetings, right?
Uh-huh.
So she's like, so I've got something I needed to ask you. So we're wanting to start a podcast. So because she knows that we do a podcast,
right.
and she talked to us before about not wearing like hospital logos or anything on our show, or which we
knowing
never
that
would.
we could, we have to leave that out because we're representative of that.
Yeah, exactly. So I just thought it was really funny that she started asking me about different software and things like that, how to host a show and all this other stuff. I just thought it was really kind of funny.
Huh? I didn't know that. You didn't tell me that.
Oh no, I saved it for the damn podcast, Ian. But
right.
you didn't seem very fucking enthused about or very interested in the story. How about that?
I just didn't know where it was going because I know what the topic is that we have to discuss. And just
sometimes I don't like to just jump into a topic.
Generally, you don't. I should have known better, but I don't know. I mean,
I just thought it was really
yay!
funny. I just thought it was really funny. You go into a meeting about a job promotion, and ends up turning into a podcast discussion.
True. Yeah.
But, it was really cool. Yeah, I gave.
Well, it's funny because what I thought you were going to say was that it had to do with our topic. Because when I saw this same manager yesterday, she brought up what our topic is.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
in a sense.
That's funny because it was like, but it was funny like when I was talking to her about the podcast and all that. She's like, "Yeah, I was going to ask Ian next time I saw him because she said she sees you more than she sees me," and I was like,
"That's not true." I very rarely see her. Yesterday was the first time I've seen her, other than I saw her in passing one day last week. I haven't seen her since the last staff meeting we had, which was 2 months ago.
Yeah, that's probably the last time I saw her too. Yeah. But it was funny though because she mentioned asking you about it, or maybe she said she was going to ask one of us, whichever one she saw us first, whoever it was. But I was like, yeah, don't ask Ian because he doesn't have any idea. I said Ian just shows up to talk. He doesn't do any of the other stuff.
I don't do the technical stuff.
And she's like,
well, I do. I know how to do it. I don't.
It just takes Ian a very long time to get it done.
Yes, but I know how to do it.
Okay.
So, in fact, I know how we can record without us having to be in the same room together now. And I figured that out on my own.
I know how to do it too. We've done it before.
No, we couldn't figure it out that one night, remember?
No. So we were trying to Skype through, but I remember we did do it, but my cord was broke.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah, the cord.
It just seemed like it wouldn't work. But
no, the cord I had feeding into the soundboard, like if you turned it the wrong way, kept cutting out. So that's why we weren't able to do it. But
well, the way I figured it out was way easier anyway.
Okay.
So.
I never really
figured that out by myself.
I never really looked into it because we don't really have a need for it.
No, but if ever there is a need for it, so.
So on a kind of side topic to our side topic because we haven't even gotten to our topic yet.
Right.
So my wife was talking to Corey on
okay.
Yeah, on Facebook, and he mentioned that he heard his name on the show. I don't remember what we were talking about though. But
was he going to sue us for defamation?
No, I was just going to shout him out again.
Oh, Hey, Corey, what's up?
That's it.
That's it.
Thanks for listening to the show. So, any questions or comments? No, I'm just joking.
I'm glad. No, it's cool. I didn't know you listened to the show.
Shortest fucking podcast episode ever.
No, there's some podcasts that are like 3 minutes long.
I know. There was a soccer podcast I used to listen to. They did a daily show. It was 3 minutes long.
They just ran down the stats and
maybe it was 5 minutes. They just ran through like 2 or 3 news stories from the day before.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, it was 5 minutes. It was called, I don't know what it was called. Goalmouth. That's what it's called. The Goalmouth.
Goalmouth. Okay. Yeah. I probably won't listen to it. I do like soccer.
No, it hasn't been. It has been a show.
It's defunct.
It only lasted for like 6 months.
Maybe because it's too short.
Well, no, I think so. They had like 5 guys. So each one of them would take a day during the week because it was a Monday through Friday podcast.
Right.
So each one of them would take a day. And I think it kind of became too cumbersome for them.
I don't see how. It seems almost like a perfect idea.
We had too many people doing too many different things. I think.
Oh, maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
Because we kind of did the same thing for a little bit of time. We had Partisan Bites,
right,
which was like a 15-minute.
Yeah, 10 to 15 minutes.
I think it always ended up being like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But it was like all politics. Yeah. We did that for what, 6 months or so?
Something like that, yeah.
Oh, maybe not even. I think we had 12 episodes.
Which was 6 each. So every other week. So 24 weeks.
Okay.
So that's 3 months. Right?
No, that's 6 months.
6 months. I'm tired.
Ian's not good with the math.
2 plus 2 is 10.
I thought you said tubeless. I was like, what?
That's a 2 plus 2.
2 plus 2
is 10.
2 plus 2 is apple.
2, that's the number of teeth I got in my mouth.
So what did you? So our topic is. I was
a little fun to talk.
Yeah, I was trying to come up with something a little lighter because we've had some heavier topics of late. So we were talking, and I think we've kind of talked about it before. Like the American dream used to be what you would to have a decent paying job, to have a nice house, be able to afford college for your kids, or a nice retirement. And that's kind of no longer the American dream. The American dream now is what?
Fame and money.
Winning the fucking lottery.
And fame.
So our topic
Being
today
famous
is,
for something.
What would you do if you hit the lotto and won $250 million? This kind of work. So how did this come up with our boss?
She mentioned that, how did she word it? She goes, I don't know, something about, and until I win the lottery. And
the American dream.
And I said, and this is going to be my answer too. I'd still work, but she's like, I'd retire because I'm close enough anyway. So, and she's not. She's probably got 10, 15 years at least, but
yeah.
She's definitely closer than I am.
Mm.
I just don't know if I would want to quit working right away.
Yeah, I know
that's a lot of money.
I mean, you are in your 40s, so I mean that's like.
I'm 41.
You're up there, man.
I'm 41.
That's your 40s.
You're right. I'm in my 40s, but I'm at the lower end of the 40s. So shut the fuck up, because you're going to be 40 in what?
Not very.
10 days.
And the end of the month.
10 days.
11
days. 11 days. You'll be 40, or 11 days from recording. It'll be less when this comes out. So anyway.
So
I don't know. As far as that goes, yeah. I mean, I don't think I would work the full 20-some years till my retirement, but I think I would work at least another 5.
I don't know. So I know that they.
I guess I would just play it by ear and just kind of set my anniversary as my deadline and see if I'm still willing to want to work.
From what I've read before, that they said if you ever hit like a big jackpot, and it might not be necessarily. 250 million, whatever it is.
Well, I think that's a good, because they always tend to get a pretty high, at least 150.
Yeah. So I think they always tell you not to work.
Why? I don't understand. Is it the tax issue?
No, but I think it's because you become a liability to yourself. Because, and maybe not so in the line of work we do, but if you're doing something, I guess the thing is, people are always going to try, if they know you've got money, they're always going to try to find a way to sue you out of it.
Right.
Like they said, I've read before that people will line up to throw themselves in front of your car to basically be able to sue you. So I guess if you work, I guess you open yourself up to that kind of liability, maybe.
Right, and we do live in a state where it'd be public knowledge, but that doesn't. The people that we encounter wouldn't know it. The people we work with might, but people we encounter wouldn't.
I don't know,
because there's no reason they would even know who I am.
No, and I don't think there's any kind of liability issue they could sue you over doing what we do.
Yeah, I don't think so. I can't imagine.
It's not like if I was a nurse, I probably wouldn't work.
Well, true.
Because then there's obvious liability issues and things
right.
like that.
I'm just thinking that, I mean, even at that level of money, I'm afraid that if maybe I cut my hours back, but I'm afraid that if I didn't work, it would be very easy for me to get into a pattern of doing absolutely nothing ever other than spending money. Because I do that very well. Yeah. I do that now.
So so I found a really interesting article when I was reading through stuff for the show, and it was a Forbes article from 2012, and they put out a list of 10 things you should do if you win the lottery. Mm-hmm. And
we're talking big jackpots, I'm assuming.
Correct. Yeah, correct. And on a kind of side note, this article kind of proves that there's literally an article for everything on the damn internet.
Right, I would imagine.
So I was going to kind of run through some, and some of these are kind of like no-brain shit that you would
like get an attorney.
I wouldn't necessarily say that's no-brainer, but anyway, I'll get to there because that is on the list. Right. So number 1 was remain anonymous if your state rules permit it.
Right.
Which in Michigan it's public knowledge, but I wonder if there's ways to get around that, like if you sign a power of attorney to someone to another attorney.
Well, I wouldn't want to do that. I learned from Rocky 5. You don't do that.
Are you serious? That's your example.
That's my example. I'm not. Hey, Rocky lost everything. I ain't losing my shit.
But I'm just trying to think if there's if you can write up some kind of contract, give somebody else power of attorney to put the money in trust for you. Maybe I don't know if there's ways to get around that rule. Is all I'm trying to say. Because it's because like you said, in Michigan, if you win it, your name's out there. Right. Everyone knows you won it. And I know there's some states that allow you to remain private, and I don't really know the rules and reasoning behind those. But
to me, it seems like it would make more sense to let people remain anonymous because of all those liabilities that you mentioned.
Yeah,
it seems to me like that's the state is putting you in jeopardy.
Yeah, because I would think it'd be
especially at a big fucking win.
Privacy concerns, really.
Yeah, exactly. It seems to me like that. It's dangerous for people that unless you want them to know, they shouldn't be allowed to know.
Yeah.
But that's so as far as I'm concerned, that law I think it's wrong. But
yeah, and I
ain't gonna worry about it if I win the lottery. I'm gonna fight it. I'm gonna fucking take the money.
Oh, exactly. But speaking of taking the money, kind of leads me into the second thing, which was number 2 is see a tax pro before you cash the ticket.
Okay.
And the reasoning behind that is, and I don't really think this is really necessary, but primarily it's to help you decide whether to take the lump sum or take the
I can tell
annuity.
You right now, I've already decided I'm taking the annuity.
Really?
Yes, because I know for sure you can. It can be inherited. Mm-hmm. Inherited. It's over 20 years, I think.
29.
Still. 29 years. It used to be 20. Okay, so it's 29. And to me, it just makes more sense that you have that steady income.
Yeah.
Because especially if you're talking a huge payout like that, plus if you take the annuity, you get the full amount over 29 years. If you take
it's
minus the taxes.
Minus the taxes.
But if you take the lump sum, they cut it in half off the bat.
It's not cut in half.
Well, they take a big chunk out of it.
You're taxed differently.
No, they take a portion out because you're taking the full amount too, plus the taxes.
No, it's just you're taxed. So if you take, you're just taxed at a higher rate because of how much you're taking, because it's a bigger payout.
I was always under the impression that if it's $100 million, you win and you take the lump sum, you get $75 million, and then they tax that.
Stop banging on the table.
Sorry. No, I'm gonna bang all I want. Anyway.
You bastard.
So that's how I always understood. They took a chunk out and then taxed what was left.
They take the chunk out to pay the taxes.
Oh, okay.
So, because like I said, you're just taxed at a higher rate.
Now,
because it's 40%. It's whatever the max tax number is, or tax bracket is what you're going to pay.
I don't think it's 40% anymore. I think it's 30.
Is it?
I think so.
Because it used to be 40. Because you'd lose about 40% taking the lump sum. I don't know.
Well,
I might be wrong.
For
but.
like 100 million plus. But if you're talking the annuity, you're not getting anywhere near that. So per year. But to me, it just makes sense. It's like a long game. You're constantly going to have that income, whatever it is. If it's $5 million a year, that it just makes more sense to do it that way.
I would just take the lump sum.
I've been super poor before. I'm going for the long game. I want to make sure that I'm set. And I know you can do that with the lump sum. You definitely could.
If your cash payout is $250 million, if that's your lump sum payment, I mean you're going to be okay.
I understand that.
Even if you take, half of that and invest it, you're going to be fine. Your family's going to be fine for generations.
I'm taking the annuity no matter what. I'm always thinking the long game. I'm not thinking right now.
But kind of going back to what I was saying though is, I don't need to hire a tax pro
to know what
to help me figure out that part.
No, because they tell you what your tax bracket is automatically for that.
Yeah, because they tell you, look, this is the jackpot was X amount. If you do this, it's going to be this much for so many years. If you do this, that's going to be the lump sum. So it's pretty straightforward as far as figuring out what you would do. So I think hiring somebody, I think all you're kind of doing is pissing money away, really.
Right. Well, the attorney makes sense just because I think you want to be able to protect yourself in terms of understanding the legalities of what winning entails. I'm not talking about like bringing an attorney on as like on retainer for the I'm rich, I need an attorney, but just to verify all the legal documents you're going to have to sign.
Yeah. And
just someone who can explain that all to you. That's all. That's why I mentioned an attorney. I never thought of a tax guy because for like what you said, they're going to tell you what the tax rates are going to be. You're going to pay it, and that's it. It doesn't matter. It's either that or you don't take the fucking money.
Exactly.
So
number 3 kind of gets to what we were talking about before. So number 3 is avoid sudden lifestyle changes.
Right.
And kind of what they're going at is don't rush into quitting your job or buying a house in Europe or something like that.
Right.
And that kind of makes sense because you don't want to do anything. You like if you're gonna if you want to buy a house in Europe, maybe it's better off to just like rent something instead of like rushing into something.
I would never do that anyway. I would want to buy a house, but I'd buy property and have a house built.
But I think this step is kind of would be the hardest for most people, including me, because if I hit the lottery, I'm probably going to quit my job the next fucking day.
Yeah.
Or actually, I'd probably quit my job as soon as I saw that I had won. But
I wouldn't, even if I was planning, even if I knew I wasn't going to continue having my job, I wouldn't quit my job until I had that money in my account.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I guess something could always happen. I guess
but. You never know, and like I said, I've been poor before.
That'd be my luck. Cause
I'm not going back.
I'd hit the lotto and
quit your job, and then find out you misread the number or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, fuck that. I ain't messing around till that money is in my account, so I can access it. So.
So yeah, I think most people, as soon as they get that money, they're. Right. Buying houses and cars and whatever.
I just thought of something real quick. Sorry. It would actually make sense to hire a tax pro because they can inform you on how to maybe pay less taxes in terms of like donations and stuff.
Actually, that's on the list. We'll get to that.
Okay.
So number 4 is pay off all your debts, which I think that's the logical first step. As soon as you get the $, that's what you.
Which for me, I don't have any debt.
I wish I didn't.
I owe about $500 on my computer, so that's about it. That's the only debt I have.
Unfortunately, with student loans and all that stuff.
Oh yeah. Well, both you and Mandy, because we both have been going to school for years. So
she owes a lot more than I do.
Well, of course, but her degree's a lot better right now.
Her multiple degrees.
Yeah.
So number 5. So like I said, 4 was pretty straightforward. Number 5 is assemble a team of legal and financial advisors. And this is kind of where I kind of say it's unnecessary.
Right.
But
it makes sense to have one financial advisor.
Yeah, I don't need a team of anyone. No. And it's also potentially very expensive to have those kind of people on on the payroll.
Yeah, we're not talking billions. If it was billions of dollars, sure, but
even then, I don't think I would. I don't see. I can't really see hiring an attorney and other financial advisors. I could see doing that if you're planning on starting a big business or anything like that. Somewhere where you're going to need those kind of advisors and attorneys. But if you're doing like something small business, I mean, it's why waste the money on it?
Right. No, I agree with you, because especially for my purposes, because I'm not going to start any businesses. Aside from like I suggested about having a tax person to help me kind of navigate
The
donations, because I'm going to make donations.
Mm-hmm.
So when you have that kind of money, there's no reason you shouldn't be spreading it around.
If any people out there listening, if you do win the lotto and you'd like to make a donation to us, we would gladly accept that.
Absolutely. We'll mention you in every show.
Yeah, exactly. I'll name the show after you.
Right. What if their name sucks? Because we see some pretty fucked up names.
The Joe Bob Show.
Right. I mean, that would actually be kind of funny, but, it could be something way worse.
Like?
I don't know. I'm just saying.
The Stinky Pinky Show?
Yes, because there's a rich person out there who just won the lottery named Stinky Pete.
I said Stinky Pinky.
Stinky Pinky. Okay, yes. That makes more sense.
That makes more sense than Stinky Pete? Do you know who Stinky Pete is, don't you?
No.
So, in Toy Story 2? I think it's Toy Story 2.
I don't think I've seen Toy Story 2.
So there's a character called the Prospector.
Okay.
On the front of his box, it says Stinky Pete. So,
okay.
So that's where I got that. I always say Stinky Pete, but that's where I got it from. Toy Story.
Okay. I don't think I've ever seen the second one. I've seen the first and third one.
They're all really good. I haven't seen the last one, though. I heard it was really good.
I didn't like them. I don't know. I didn't hate them, but
because you're a rotten bastard. That's why.
I don't think that's it. I'm not denying that, but I don't think that's it.
No,
I don't. It's not my thing. I'm not a big fan of The Incredibles.
That's true. You're not a bastard.
Just shy of one. We know the gestation of a human child,
40 weeks.
Yeah, so
10 months.
What's September to March? 5 months?
6 months?
6 months. So I was a bastard for half a year. Well, potentially for half a year because I wasn't born yet.
Yeah.
But,
number 6 is invest prudently.
Right.
Which is another thing that's common sense. Like, don't go off making crazy investments.
Right.
If something sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
Right. No, if I was going to do it, I would only invest I probably would only invest in IRAs and stuff. I don't think I would really go too crazy. I would just do
I think a lot of issues when you, especially in a state like Michigan where your name is public,
right?
You're going to have
people coming like,
I got
this great idea.
Every cousin you've ever met in your life, third cousins coming to you.
They won't come to me.
If they know you got money, they're going to. Everyone you've ever met in your family is going to ask
Doesn't
you for
mean
money.
I'm going to talk to them.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
So.
But I think a lot of times that's, especially people you're closer to in your family,
right.
I think it can be difficult to tell them no.
Right. Yeah, I suppose. I got some family that I'm sure I would have a difficult time saying no to.
Yeah.
I'd still probably say no, at least to large sums, but...
Yeah. Would you invest in my business? We're not family, but you'd invest in my business.
What's your business?
Me stealing money from you.
Tempting, but I'm going to have to pass.
It's called You Give Me Millions, and I run off with it.
No, if I guarantee that your kids will have college funds.
They can pay for that themselves.
No, I'm not going to no. If I have that kind of money, your kids are going to have college funds, so they don't have to worry about student debt. And I'd help you, Mandy, out for sure. You guys wouldn't have to worry about anything.
So number 7 is live within a budget, which I think that would be. You almost have to do, especially if you take the lump sum.
Right.
If you invest the money correctly, you should be more than able to live just off of the interest, and
theoretically,
primarily live off of less than interest. You don't want to, if your interest is 100.
You don't want to be netting zero every year.
Yes.
Because of your spending habits.
Yeah, because if you do it correctly, even a $10 million investment done correctly over 40 years could turn into quite a bit of money.
Right. Well,
especially with
for me, I figured with the lump sum because, I mean, I don't even know what that would be if it be. I got a calculator.
What's that?
Hold on a second.
What are you trying to figure out?
So we're talking $250 million, right?
But what my premise is, I was going off of if you got a lump sum payment of $250 million.
Right. Oh, well, see, I can't think in those terms because I wouldn't do
Okay, so take 250 and divide it by 29.
29. It's a little over $8.5 million a
Okay.
year. That's before taxes. So we'll say benefit of the doubt, 30%.
Yeah. So you're still walking away with,
$6 million.
$6 million.
$6 million a year. There's no way. I mean, I could, but I wouldn't. There's no way I'd ever spend $6 million in a year. Because my as much as there's a lot of things I can spend money on.
I probably
could.
They
would run. I mean, I could, but it would almost get too difficult after a while, because the things that I want are not that. I don't have very. My aspirations for material goods aren't that high.
No.
I would buy some property. I'd build a house. It'd be a modest house, a very modest house. I've already even got the design in my head. The only extravagant part of the house would be an indoor pool.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't even be in the house. It'd be attached to the house, like a separate building. Mm-hmm. That would be the only extravagant part of the house. The rest of the house would be, I mean, we're talking like 2 or 3 bedrooms tops.
I'd have a really nice theater, a home theater.
No, I mean, I'd have nice equipment, but I wouldn't want to even go to that extent.
I would have a nice record room.
Yeah, oh yeah, the records for sure. But it would be very modest, especially for that kind of money. I could probably have the house and property for less than $1 million.
Yeah.
And that's done. That's paid for right off the bat. The only thing I'd have to worry about as far as payments after that is property taxes.
Yeah.
So, I've looked at similar properties with houses and pools and stuff, and it wouldn't be more than, we're talking $10,000 a year.
Yeah.
So.
Oh well.
We're not talking a lot of property either.
It depends on where it's at. I mean, because hell, I mean, my property taxes when we lived in Ipsy were $6,000 a year.
That's a lot of property, though.
5 acres.
Yeah, I don't think I need that much.
I don't know.
But even so, we'll say $20,000 a year. It's not a lot, when you're talking $6 million. And
it's a pretty good chunk.
The first year or two is when you're going to spend the most.
Yeah.
Because I do need a new car, but again, nothing extravagant. I don't need an extravagant.
I probably wouldn't spend more than $60,000 on a car.
Me neither, and I already know what kind of car I would get. And it is extravagant because it's about $60,000.
Yeah.
But it's Ford Raptor. I really like them.
A what?
A Ford Raptor.
Oh, okay.
I really like them. I don't know. I just like them. I'm not a car guy, but I like the Ford Raptor. So yeah, I mean, we're not talking extravagant spending. I might go on a vacation, but there's
no might. I definitely would do that.
It would be the big European vacation that I want to take, and the only reason that's even as extravagant as it is because when the trip's over, I want to take a cruise ship back to the U.S. across the Atlantic. That's $5,000 by itself. If I want a cabin with a window view, not an indoor cabin, and ship cabin. So there's really not a lot of extravagance that I would go to.
I don't know, just $6 million a year just doesn't sound like enough.
It would be more than enough for me.
Like there's
I would literally, and like I said, I would still be working. I would at least work for the first year, if I could. If it was suggested that I can't, fine, I won't. I'll find something else to do. But actually, I can think of a lot of things I could do other than working. But it would be work.
Yeah, it'd be a different kind of work.
It'd be a different kind of work. I mean, I'd probably just invest in the podcast so we could just do this every day. Just do a daily show.
That'd be kind of sweet.
Yeah. At least until we got sick of doing it.
Yeah.
But
maybe then Ian could show up with notes.
On a daily basis? Are you kidding? Can't even do it on a weekly basis.
You would no longer have the excuse of you not having time.
That's true. That is true.
If it was your job.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, who knows? I mean, it depends on what because we'd have to obviously change the format.
Yeah. There's going back to the whole $6 million a year though. There was a so just recently David Gilmour just auctioned off all of his like 130 or 140
guitars. Yeah, didn't he do that for charity?
He did. He donated it all to it was a climate change charity.
Yeah, I remember reading about it and I knew it was for charity, but I didn't know.
So he auctioned off his Black Strat, which is the guitar he used for like all the notable Pink Floyd stuff.
Okay.
Like he, the solo Uncomfortably Numb, a lot of other songs, all the really popular stuff. All the Dark Side of the Moon was all written with it. So it went for like $3.5 or $4.5 million or something like that. I could definitely see myself spending a good chunk of money on something like that.
Yeah. See, there isn't anything in this world that I want that much that I'd spend that kind of money on it. I mean, really, I can't think of anything.
So not even like Ian Anderson's flute.
No.
If he had like one flute that he had used for most of his career and he auctioned it off.
No.
Okay.
I mean, it's a piece of history, but I wouldn't, not millions, no.
Yeah.
Maybe 50,000, sure. 60,000.
That would definitely go for a lot more than 50,000.
I don't know.
It would probably it would be in the millions.
The flutes he plays are 10,000 brand new, so
Yeah.
$20,000 each.
Yeah.
Brand new.
Which that in and of itself is really kind of.
It's just the high end stuff that he plays. He doesn't. I don't think he brings them on the tours. I think he uses cheaper models on the tour. But when he plays in the studio,
Yeah.
so
I would think he would play more higher end and
more risky than being damaged, especially the way he moves around. Or at least back in the day, he used to have a dummy flute on stage. He used to, like, occasionally would just grab a dummy flute.
Oh, really?
Because of how animated he was on stage. He'd drop him occasionally.
Oh, well, I mean, I don't know. I would think he would have the money to be able to not have to worry about that.
He's not an extravagant spender either, though.
Well, that kind of goes back to number 7. Live within a budget, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not sure if I'd have a budget, but I just there's nothing that extravagant I want. Like I said, aside from a very high end vacation, house and a car. I mean, I've already got the TV I want.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't need any until the next model comes out, maybe. But
I guess, like, if I won that kind of money, the business I want to start would be probably $2 million just to start it, for the building, property, and everything.
Is that the craft beer company?
No, that'd be my record store.
Oh.
Because
that's what I'll do. I'll just work for you.
Yeah, there you go. Because there is a building that I saw that I would love to have. Mm-hmm. That I think would be. It's kind of like it's almost set up like a mixed use kind of building. Uh-huh. It's completely empty and it has been for years. And I think it'd be sweet to have. It'd be perfect for a recording studio, a record store, and all that. And the building in and of itself, last time I saw it listed, was listed for about a little over $1 million.
Okay.
So between $1 million for the building, for renovation, and everything else that goes into it, it's probably cost me $2 million.
Are you sure it wouldn't be more? Because the inventory alone would be pretty high too, to stock it up.
No, inventory. From what I've read, if you're starting a new record store, inventory, you're probably looking 100,000, somewhere in that range.
Seems low to have a nice selection.
Because also you have to remember, you're going to probably be going to a lot of auction houses, buying a lot of used stuff, things like that.
Right, well, that's true. Yeah, I mean, I like that idea, and I would shop at your store a lot, but I'm more of a if there was any business I could start, and I'm not qualified to do it, but I'm at least qualified in the sense that I would know my limitations and hire properly. I think it'd be cool to have an animation company.
Yeah?
Yeah. One that not necessarily focused on animation for children, but animation for everybody.
Yeah.
Have original stories, and because I think there's a market, especially nowadays.
There absolutely is. For
even adult-oriented animation. And I'm not talking like adult. I'm talking, R-rated with vulgarity and, but being able to do stories that are
like Spawn and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, and they don't even necessarily have to be like superhero or sci-fi.
Yeah,
they can just be dramas. There's a new show, and it is sci-fi, but there's a new show that's premiering on Amazon, and I fucking forgot the name of it. But it's an animated show. It's that weird. It's live action, but it's like drawn over.
Okay, yeah.
I forgot what that's called.
So just like the Sin City movies, basically. Is that what you're
in a sense, but it's more like. Did you ever see Scanner Darkly with Robert Downey Jr.?
No.
It's that kind of animation, but slightly more modernized.
Okay.
Bob Odenkirk's in it.
Okay.
Think Quantum Leap with a slightly more esoteric. That's what I get from it.
Okay.
It's only been advertised. I forgot the name of it, but it's going to be on Amazon Prime. But like I said, it's sci-fi-ish. It's got a sci-fi element, but it's subdued. So there is a market for that. And if I was going to start a business, but I'd need more than that kind of. I'd need more than $6 million. I'd probably need more to start an animation company. You'd need probably $100 million alone.
No,
you don't think so?
No, because originally because
no one's going to hire you until you have a catalog, a portfolio.
Yeah, but
and it costs so much money to animate.
But what I'm saying though is, first off, you're not gonna go from 0 to 100. You're not gonna go big to start. You would start small,
right,
and build your way.
But I
up.
mean, you have to have the equipment because it's
and the personnel.
Because I'm not qualified. That's what I meant. I'm not qualified to do animation.
Yeah.
I'm qualified to ID scripts,
yeah,
and maybe even write a couple scripts if I so chose. But I'm not qualified to do the animation. I can say what I want, but I can't do it myself. So I'd have to find people who can do it, and they're not going to work cheap.
No, but I would say I wouldn't think that would cost any more than probably $5 million
to start
to get off the ground. Yeah.
I don't know, and it's a risky business.
Oh, of
because
course
you're talking entertainment.
Yeah.
It's so fickle.
Yeah.
So I'm not even sure if I would even go to those links if I was that, $250 million. I think I'd have to be one of those rare like jackpots that are like 800, 900 million.
Well,
I might consider it
something like that. I think you would look at
investors
investing or investing in something.
But it would have to be tough because I would want to make sure that I had absolute control.
Here's the thing though: is if you go into a meeting with some kind of small startup animation company, you can walk in and say, "Look, man, I'll cut you. I can cut you guys a check for X amount of millions right now, but I'm going to have some kind of control, some kind of something to oversee what the process what's being created."
Yeah.
And some businesses or some people that are running them might take it and some won't.
Right. Well, I mean, I'd want to start it would have to be my own company. It would be from the ground up kind of a thing.
Well, I'm saying if you want to like limit your liability.
Right. Yeah.
You can go into something at least some kind of joint venture with somebody that already knows the market.
What I was thinking is if I invested in the proper technology, that would be a lot, but it wouldn't be enough to lose,
Yeah.
And then find freelance animators who will work. Say, I want to just do a project, and then do a project as though it were like an independent film, and get it out in there and just see what happens, and then if that works out, then you can kind of
build off
of that,
Yeah.
The Star Wars model, essentially. I mean,
Yeah.
Lucasfilm was born out of one film, essentially. So, and
yeah, that would take some capital for sure.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean that's like lofty goals if I won, but I'm just saying if there was any business
that's what this whole show is about.
Right. I mean that would be the only business I would be interested in starting if I was going to start a business.
Yeah. So originally when I was kind of thinking of this, I went along the lines of the doing a brewery because I enjoyed making beer and all that stuff, and but then again, man, you want to talk about liability,
right?
I mean, you're talking serious liability.
You're talking about just the cost of licensing and everything else.
I'm talking about the cost of over-serving somebody and then killing them on the road, and guess what? You no longer have money.
Right.
That kind of liability.
Yeah.
You open yourself up to some serious lawsuits there. And obviously, if you're going to the next topic here, number 8 was take steps to protect assets, like setting up trusts and things like that.
Right.
So obviously, if you do an LLC, you have some kind of trust. Obviously, if you do a brewery, you get sued, you're not going to lose your ass.
Right.
But the potential's still there, you know?
Yeah, I mean, like, an animation company is high risk, but it's not that high risk.
No, there's no liability there, really. It's like liability like that.
Right.
You're not gonna lose hundreds of millions of dollars on a lawsuit.
Because someone sued you because they didn't like your film.
Yeah.
We're getting there.
I wouldn't say we're getting there.
I'd say that, well, hey, we're maybe 3 generations away.
No, I wouldn't even go there.
People lose their shows all the time.
Well, yeah, but no one's being sued over it, though.
Yet. We'll see. I'd
rather be right. Because to sue someone, you got to have some kind of damage.
Now,
you producing a show and me not liking it, where's the damage there?
Well, you can't. There are people winning lawsuits for emotional damage all the time.
Yeah, but that's a hell of a stretch, Ian.
Yeah, but even that was many years ago. No one would be like, how are you going to win in a lawsuit? Well, you can't prove that you were emotionally damaged by that. And people, eventually it happened.
That's a hell of a stretch.
Yeah, well, I know. It's hyperbole.
So number 9 is kind of goes to something you were talking about earlier. Number 9 is planned charitable gifts. So that's basically to maximize your tax breaks.
Right.
Kind of figure out. And there's like different ways where you can set up to do like a large charitable donation now, but not have it take effect until the following year. I don't know. I when it comes to like tax stuff, when I was in school to get my paralegal degree, tax law is one thing I absolutely freaking hated.
Right.
And it was like a lot of it just didn't even make sense.
I was gonna say it's probably so just tedious.
Yeah, and it's obviously tax law has changed a lot since.
Right. And they do. Don't they change it? They change every year, don't they?
Yeah.
Essentially.
Well, especially with the tax stuff that went through a couple years ago.
Right.
But, so yeah, there's ways that you can like defer charitable gifts to affect taxes down the road.
Right.
So there's different things you can do, and
Well, I guess that makes sense because ultimately, when you take the lump sum, that tax money's gone. So the charitable donations are to offset the taxes you pay on your interest going forward. So that makes sense, correct?
Well, no, you can set up those gifts to reduce the taxes you're going to pay on the money on your winnings.
Okay.
Because the way that's set up is when you win that money, that's income.
I understand.
So you're going to have to pay taxes like income on it.
Oh, so if it's $100 million and say it's 30% tax, so you get $70 million, then you have to pay another income tax on the $70 million.
No, because they'll be taxing you twice.
Well, that's what you're talking about then.
No. It's to reduce. The way I was reading this, it was if you defer those charitable offerings, it reduces your tax liability.
I understand that, but so when you say you win $100 million, do they give you the full $100 million and then you have to pay the $30 million in taxes on the following year?
I don't know.
Or do they take the $30 million out?
Yeah, I thought they took the $30 million out.
So if they do that, then
I'm not 100% sure.
You would have to have a lot of deductions in order to get any of that back.
From what I was reading about it said that taxes were due you would have to pay the taxes when you receive the money.
Right. Which makes sense.
But I wasn't 100% sure if you were paying those taxes out of what you received or it was already withdrawn from your winnings. Because I don't know a single person that's ever won millions of dollars from the lottery.
No, but I'm just thinking it would make sense for them to just give you the money after taxes. It doesn't make any sense to give you $100 million and then ask you to pay the taxes on it.
Yeah.
Just take the fucking money, and then you don't even have to worry about it. Just give me what's owed to me.
Well, because they're two separate entities.
I understand you got to pay a federal and a state, but just take it out. Just take it out right away.
Yeah, but so the
like your paycheck.
So hold on.
It's just like your paycheck. You get your paycheck every week. The money's taken out.
Yes, which I understand. So you're getting the money from the state of Michigan. So is the state of Michigan paying your federal tax liability, or?
Well, once you win it, that money's yours. It's not the state of Michigan's anymore. So you're
correct.
paying that money yourself.
Correct, but if they take that money, so if you win $100 million and they're taking out $30 million,
right.
which would be your total federal and state that you owe.
Right.
If they're taking that money, that $30 million out, are they taking the state of Michigan's out, or are they taking out the state of Michigan and the federal and then paying the federal for you?
I would assume that's how it would go. I mean, that seems to make the most sense, because otherwise they're not taking anything out. And then at the end of the year, you've got to write a check for the taxes. Which on small amounts, like $1,000, I know for sure, because I know someone who's won $1,000 on a scratch off. They just give you the $1,000, and then you just add it into your income, but you add it in as a winning. Mm-hmm. So say your income is your income rate is 12%. That's your tax rate. You're gonna be taxed at a higher rate because it's a winning, which I think was 20% or 25%.
Okay.
So it just adjusts your income tax. Mm-hmm. Obviously, on I think anything over 10,000 is different, but it just when you're talking that amount of money, it doesn't make any sense for the government, state or federal, to wait for a check, because someone could go and just blow all that fucking money, and then. What do you do? They just put you in jail. You don't get the money back.
Yeah. So you're right. I would. So
it makes sense that they just take it out. So,
but I guess I never really thought about how it's paid out. I don't like how because the state of Michigan would have to take it out, and then the state of Michigan would have to pay.
They probably would because
portion of it.
Yeah, I would assume that's probably how it works. Yeah. So,
because you're talking millions and millions of dollars.
The lottery commission probably is both state and federally, especially with the big ones, because they're multi-state lotteries. So there have to be some kind of federal oversight.
There would have to be.
So there's a federal agency involved anyway.
Yeah.
So the federal takes their share, and then the state takes their share.
The damn feds have their hands in everything.
Who cares? You're getting millions of dollars. I know. It doesn't bother me that they're getting that, because it's supposed to go to schools anyway, and you're getting a lot more than they're getting. So fuck it.
So I guess, but I think the charitable side of it, I think a lot of people don't really think about.
No, well, I mean, to me, it's just, I think it's a moral obligation.
Of course,
because
pay it forward.
Yeah, exactly. There's even a family. $250 million is a lot of fucking money.
Oh, of course.
And there's a lot of people out there who could truly benefit from even a small percentage of that. Mm-hmm. And I just think it would be. It would be stupid not to make use of that to help others.
Just, it's one of those things where I would definitely have to look into the charity, because that's the thing is nowadays, man.
You don't know where
there's so many charities out there that.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean,
they're taking charitable donations, but if you look into it, there's a couple of them that are like 75% of the
is going to their CEOs of the charities. Yeah. And for me, obviously, I would only donate to secular charities. Yeah. Just as a matter of principle. So, it's tough. It's not an easy thing, but yeah. And secular charities aren't immune from fraud either.
Nope.
So yeah, you've got to be all careful no matter what. So.
Well, and I think you always have to look into just try to be wise with what you're doing, and I guess that's where like a tax professional or an attorneys and stuff like that would come in handy, be able to help you steer towards certain places and stay away from some of the shadier ones.
Yeah, makes sense.
Just don't donate to a guy like Bernie Madoff,
Right? Yeah. No
Ponzi schemes.
Well, if you're donating, you shouldn't be expecting
that's true.
Profit from it. So
that's true.
Don't invest. I mean, even investing. As far as investing goes, I would just go through reputable companies, that I know of.
Yeah.
Things like Fidelity and things like that.
Yeah.
Because I know that. At least I know.
You've heard of them.
I've heard of them. They're
So the number 10 on the list was review your estate plan, which
is that like where it all goes when you die?
Yeah, yeah.
That's pretty simple.
Because
for me.
Because if you don't have one and you die, you want to talk about a shitstorm. I mean, I've seen in especially working in the hospital, I've been in situations where I've been there when people die, and I've seen what grief does to people, and I've seen fights break out. And we had
I saw one last week.
And
it wasn't even a death. It was a fall. Well, we can't go into detail, but
we had a situation a year or two back where like an actual fight broke out, and the patient wasn't even dead yet, and it turned into an actual physical confrontation. Yeah. So, like I said, grief does crazy things to people. So if you don't have
really grief, or is that greed, or both?
It could be both, but it's just. You don't want that situation. You don't want to set that situation.
Right.
You want to make sure you know where everything is going.
Oh, I already know where our mine's going. So
straight to the bar. Straight to the bar.
Well, I guess that depends on who gets it when I die. No, I have plans. I've already got that. If I won, I know exactly how it all be divided up at my time of my death. So
I think I'd have to. I don't know. First off, I would pay off all my debts.
That's number one. That's number one.
Yeah, and obviously, I travel. I'd always want, like you said earlier, do like a European trip or something like that.
Yeah. It's just the UK I want to see. That's the only part. But I with that kind of money, I would expand my trip. Obviously, right now I'm limited, but
Oh yeah, if I had like basically unlimited funds, I'd like to see Italy, and I've got no interest in going like any of the Asian countries or anything like that.
Yeah, maybe Japan, some of the like countryside. I don't know, but yeah, I'm with you. It's like I have no interest in going to China because it's still a. It's maybe a capitalist country, but still a communist country. I don't trust communist countries.
Well, I mean, you're a Democrat, so I mean, you're a communist already. So
no, I'm a socialist. Oh, there's a difference.
No. I'm just joking.
Yeah, no. There's a difference.
I know there's a difference.
And I'm not even that much of a socialist. I'm a socialist light.
Yeah, there's So yeah, I'd like to travel. I'd probably do a lot of traveling, but
I wouldn't. To me, the European trip that's a once in a lifetime. Because I want to do it, gig, and then I'm done. I don't need to see anything else. I mean,
I'd probably buy
unless they really do open up the like travel to space kind of trips for rich people. That'd be the only other thing I'd probably do.
Yeah,
and I'm not doing it for the cost of what they're talking about now, like $30 million a trip. I ain't doing that. It's not worth $30 million.
No, that's not. I mean, that's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. So. $1 million? I'd maybe do $1 million.
Even if you're a billionaire, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, I might do it for $1 million. I'd consider $1 million because it's going into space. But anything over that, fuck it. I'm not doing it because it's just not worth it to me.
But I'd probably buy like a cabin up north or something like that.
I only need one house. I don't need multiple houses.
I'd probably have multiple houses.
I don't need multiple houses. See, to me, that's
I would have like my one main house, and then probably I'm talking like a small, like 1,000 square foot cabin up north or something like that.
But you're not a hunter. You're not really outdoorsy.
What do you mean I'm not outdoorsy? I just don't have fucking time to do it. I love kayaking and all that stuff.
I guess, yeah. But you're not a hunter. I don't know why you need to go all that.
No. But growing up, my grandparents lived up north. We had a place up north. We used to.
Well, they lived up there though. They didn't have two places, did they?
Yeah. After they retired, they sold their house in Ipsy.
Okay. And then moved up there full time.
Moved up there full time.
Oh, okay.
When they retired. But yeah, they're like growing up until like probably late 80s, early 90s. Yeah, it was just like a summer house basically.
Okay.
We'd go up there in the winter and stuff like that. But yeah, I used to always love being up there.
Yeah. I don't know. I have a hard time with if I'm that rich. It's just I don't know. The idea that I have two houses and there's people that don't have any house.
Okay. But I mean,
it just bothers me. I just can't justify it. That's why I couldn't have a huge house either, because no one person needs that much.
No, and that's my thing is there's no way. I look at some of these houses on the internet and stuff, and they're like, those big $5 million mansions. It's like, I've got 3 kids and a wife, and we don't need all that damn space.
No, because then you got to pay someone to clean it and keep it up, and
it's just too much.
Then you know what? And even then, I'm like, I don't want to have to. I don't want servants.
No, and I'd rather spend my money in other places and invest it in other places than in, because really, real estate's a bad investment, man. Like,
but it fluctuates. Sometimes it's a good investment. It used to be the best investment.
It's a good investment in like normal housing,
right?
But a lot of times in those big mansions and shit like that, it's a bad investment.
It's too hard to sell them.
Yeah,
There's
exactly.
not enough people.
It's a limited market,
right?
So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I find different ways to invest my car. Right. Invest my money. Yeah. Houses and cars are not. I don't think.
Well, no, cars devalue the second you drive them off the lot, no matter how expensive they are originally.
Yeah.
Unless they end up being classic cars, but even none of them. Very rarely does that happen. And houses, property, I can see it as an investment to a point, but there's too many homeless people where I would not feel good about myself living in an extravagant house or mansion. I mean, even to the point that I'd still probably even feel slightly guilty about having that indoor pool, but it's just.
Well,
I don't like rich people because I don't like this idea of yachts and mansions and $30,000 dinners and there's fucking people starving in this world. It's just so. The inequity is so bad.
Well, that sounds like a really easy thing to do with your charitable money, then.
Well, that's what I mean. I would donate it, but it doesn't change the
fact. Well, you don't
even
need to donate. Just start a charity that does nothing but build houses for.
Well, I could do that
for the homeless.
Yeah. Well, houses, and it would have to be it'd almost have to be communities.
Shack towns.
No, it would be because I'd make sure that
Ian the slumlord.
No, that's what I mean. It'd have to be.
I'm thinking of what's the one that Jimmy Carter does? The
Habitat for Humanity.
Habitat for Humanity.
Yeah.
Kind of something along those lines.
Well, that's something that I could see myself donating to. I'd have to check and make sure it's secular, though. I don't know if it is. I know Jimmy
Habitat?
Carter. I know Jimmy Carter's pretty religious.
Yeah, but I don't think anything about Habitat is, though.
Yeah. It might not be. It might not be.
And I've dealt a lot with them when I used to deal in building supplies and all that stuff. I used to deal with Habitat a lot.
But yeah, I mean, that's the kind of stuff that I'd want to do charitably, but it's just, I have to practice what I preach to. I have to live live to my principles.
I'm not one of those people that are like, look at me.
Right.
So
but even if you're not, and there's a lot of billionaires that are like that, their yachts are in other countries where they're, no one over here sees it, but but it's just like still.
There was a couple weeks back I was heading out to the record store on a Sunday morning, as I've been known to do. And,
almost every fucking weekend.
Yeah. By the way, when I start clinicals, that will have to stop because I'll be working. I'll have to be at work at 11 o'clock on Sundays.
Oh, right.
So,
well, you'll just have to commission me to go and get your stuff for you,
or my wife,
or your wife.
I'll have to pay my wife off. But anyway, so I was driving down the highway, and I just happened to look over, and there's this Rolls Royce driving next to me on the highway, and I was like, who the hell is this? In Ipsy, driving down the highway in a Rolls Royce.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things I've never seen one before.
I know. And I mean,
I've seen Bentleys and things like that on the road. I've never seen a Rolls Royce on the road.
But even talking about, going back to what we were talking about $60,000 car, and I mean, what?
A $60,000 car is actually not that much.
It is to me. I'm planning on buying a new car next year. I'm looking at in the mid-30s at the high end.
Yeah, but you figure a lot of trucks and a lot of bigger SUVs and stuff like that. Those all start out $45,000-$50,000.
I guess.
So I mean, a fully loaded, SUV or something like that, 55, 60 easy.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Like I said, it's just maybe it is the socialist in me. I just can't. I cannot see living a life so extravagant when there's so many people who live so rough. So And it was kind of a bummer way to talk about winning this, lottery.
Good,
but
yeah. So when
know,
you're trying to have this nice, happy conversation, and you really got to fucking bring it down.
It's just the way I feel, and that's why, like I said, I don't like rich people in general because they're. Who needs a boat that costs $10 million?
Oh yeah, and I've seen it. Mandy's dad lives down in Florida, and we went out. A couple of years ago, we were down there. We went out on this island that's off the coast of Florida down there, and that's all it was. It's lined with these multi-million-dollar mansions and
yachts
and yachts. Well, they weren't yachts, but there's some big ass boats.
Yeah,
and I was like, God, just driving through there, I was like, holy shit. I mean, it's kind of cool to check these places out, but I can't believe people actually fucking live like that.
Right. I was listening to a conversation a few weeks ago, and I may have told you about it. I'm not sure if I did or not. This person's cousin married a billionaire, and this person was going on and on about.
Is this somebody I know, or?
Possibly.
Oh, okay.
But on and on about all these, these Twitter pictures of her in like Aruba and on the yacht, and these, all these famous rich people they have dinners with, and I'm like, that's obscene.
Yeah,
it's fucking obscene.
Mm-hmm. It's look at me is what it is.
And I even said that. I said that's just too much money for anyone to have. I said when there's so many people struggling in this world, like, well, they donate to charity all the time.
Yeah, but
they're still living in their boat. The money they spend on their boat could feed an entire country. It's a third world country for a year.
I mean, I understand kind of what you're getting at to a certain point. I mean, but it's like, and you're right. I'd be along those same lines. I wouldn't like live extravagantly.
Right.
Well, I mean, I probably would to a certain level, but I guess I would do what I could. But I mean, it's like
I know there's limits.
There's limits
for sure. I mean, other than I could just give all my money away and win that money, just give it all away.
There's people that have done it,
and I know, and I'm not going to. I wouldn't do it. So I mean, I am selfish to a point, but
it's like it kind of reminds me of there was one of the Detroit Pistons. He played on the team in the early 2000s, and obviously he's a multi-millionaire basketball player, signed with the Pistons, for a bunch of money, signed a big contract and all that.
Right.
And for the whole time he played for the Pistons, he drove around like a 1983 GMC pickup truck. His wife had a nice car,
right?
But if you saw him driving down the road, you'd never think that was a
multi-millionaire.
Multi-millionaire. There was a guy that used to come into the building supply company I used to work for. He was by far the wealthiest person I've ever met in my life. If you saw him, you'd think he was a fucking bum.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Huh.
Yeah, but he was filthy rich.
And filthy, apparently.
he was at times, very much so.
Well, it sounds like he was the type of guy who worked with his hands.
Yeah, he was. He owned the company and he did the work for the company also.
Right.
But
well, those are people that when they talk about those self-made, those are those kind of people.
Yeah.
And I get it. I get when if you work hard, you make that kind of money. You want to how you spend it and keeping as much of it as you can. I get it. But there's the vast majority of people that are rich, like we're talking about. Yeah. They did not work for their money. They inherited their money, or their money is earning them an income that keeps that lifestyle.
Those are the kind of people that start off on third base and think they hit a triple.
Or didn't even play.
I had to say that. I got the baseball game on, so
didn't even play, but have the the home run record.
Yeah.
Because they just were born into it.
Yeah.
I love. I'm a what do they call them?
Jackass, asshole, bastard.
Well, many things. Anglophile. I love the UK.
Okay.
Whatever they call that. I don't like the monarchy.
Yeah.
I've never been a big fan. I like the romance of the classic monarchy, but I think it's outdated and should go away. And nothing says that more. Nothing says that more than this article I read. I didn't read the whole article, but I was in Standing in Line at Meyer, and it was in People.
Okay.
About the Prince William, the wife, and the two kids.
Okay.
On vacation. It's a multi-million-dollar vacation. What the fuck did they do to earn that money?
Well, they're heads of state.
No, but they don't have any say.
The queen is, at least.
The queen is the head of state.
Well, but
she doesn't have any say.
I think that's one of those things that we're not used to because we live in a country where the president is kind of everything. He's the head of the government, and he's the head of state.
The
also,
queen is the head of state, but she has no say in what happens.
Correct.
She's also the defender of the faith, so she's the head of the church, which has no say.
Okay.
She really has no power.
No, but that's what I'm saying.
She's the old guard. As far as I'm concerned, as long as she's queen, then I'm fine. But when she dies, the monarchy needs to die with her.
And that's what I'm saying though is
the money.
So who's going to be head of state then? You want the prime minister to be? But that's what I'm saying.
We don't have a head of state. They
yes,
don't need
we do.
Head.
Yes, we do. The president of the United States is the head of state.
The prime minister could be the head of state then.
Okay, that's what I'm saying though. Is we're used to our president having a dual role, where in the UK and a lot of other countries, it's not. Right. Those roles are separated. You've got one person that runs the government, and then another person that's head of state. But that's all it is. That's all the monarchy.
It's just a figurehead. It has no real power.
No, that's correct.
But my point is they're getting millions and millions of dollars a year for nothing. And I know that's an American view, but it's also shared by a great percentage of the British population.
A certain percentage. I wouldn't say a great percentage.
It's less than the majority, but it's not low.
Yeah.
But it is less than the majority. But they're clinging to the tradition. And like I said, I understand that Elizabeth should be the last monarch. I'm not saying you end it before she dies.
I don't have a problem with it. I have a problem with how much they get from it, but
well, what is and I kind of have the same problem with how much our politicians are paid too, but I'm not really sure what Prince William does to be able to afford a multi-million-dollar vacation. Because he doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
He does photo ops, he does charity, but he doesn't do anything to justify the cost.
Yeah, I know.
And he's not even next in line.
No.
Charles is.
Mm-hmm.
And if the Queen is any indication, Charles will have a much shorter reign, but he's still going to be reigning into his 90s if he lives as long as his mother.
Yeah.
And there's no reason to think that he can't because his father's fucking ancient too. Mm-hmm. So it could theoretically be another 50 years before William even gets the throne.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I just don't have a big issue with it.
I just think it's an outdated thing. I'm just saying it kind of goes to my whole idea, the whole point I'm trying to make about money and how people use it, especially in that case when they're actually getting it from the people.
And actually in like Prince William's case, he probably has a pretty large amount of notoriety, publicity, tourism, if you want to say, that he probably brings to the UK because of his status, his stature.
I don't know.
Maybe
you're right, but
there is a monetary number that if you've got just a prime minister. I mean, who's the prime minister in the UK
right now? Boris Johnson.
But that's what I'm saying. How many people? What percentage of people in the world know who the prime minister in the UK is? Percentage wise,
right now a lot because it was highly publicized, his election.
Okay.
But in general, you're right.
How many and what percentage of people in the?
Because he's the Trump of Britain, by the way.
Yeah, but what percentage of people in the world know who Prince William is? Probably a larger percentage,
maybe.
And that's why I said there is some monetary value. Is it to the level of what they get? Probably not.
Right.
But there is value there. Like I said, I just think
going forward,
I don't have a big issue with the monarchy. My issue is, like I said, the amount of money that they take in. Right. Is that equal to
what they do?
What they do,
right? Because it's all just accident of birth.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean,
you win the gene pool lottery, 100%.
Well, I wouldn't even say gene pool. You just the birth lottery.
Same thing.
Because arguably the gene pool is a little thin there. I mean, it's improved in the last century, but it's prior to that it was a little thin.
Yeah.
So, So yeah, I don't know.
That's a really.
That was a nice sidebar.
We get way off
Well,
topic there.
it's still tied into the money thing, and I like I said, I hate going back to that, but it's just
It's
if I win the lottery, there's going to be hopefully a lot of people that are going to benefit from it.
yeah,
Not just my inner circle, but outside of my inner circle.
and I'd be the same way. It's one of those things that you have to do.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't do it for the tax breaks, though. I'd do it because I'd
obviously I wouldn't either.
I'd feel morally obligated to help people out because there's just so many people out there who are, even at my level right now, are far worse than I could ever be.
Yeah.
And even when I was at my lowest, they're probably still lower than I was. So.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm called by God to do it, so
I'm just called by a good moral compass.
well.
So I don't need I don't need promises of heaven to do my good deeds.
Take care of the least among us, man. That's
yeah, but I'm not.
I wish there was more people that had the money that felt that way that actually did it.
True.
But they don't.
Right.
They act like they do, and they want to pretend like they do, but they don't actually follow through on it.
Right.
But I don't know, man. That's all I got.
Nothing else to add.
It'd be fun.
It would, but I would definitely have some fun. I would not be an unhappy person if I won the lottery. I know they say that a lot of people who do win the lottery do go, they suffer for it. It changes their moods and everything. I think if you do it right, that won't happen.
Yeah, because I mean, it's such a change in lifestyle to a vast majority of people that come in that kind of money.
I think it also depends on where you've been in life too. I think people who have always been comfortable are probably more likely to, and this is just an opinion. I can't base this on any fact, but I think if you've always had comfort and never had to struggle, I would imagine you're probably more likely to have more issues with winning the lottery than someone who's had to suffer and been poor and knows what it's like to be poor.
I don't know about
it's
that.
hard to say. I mean, like I said, that's just an opinion. I'm saying that because that's me. I know exactly how it's going to affect me.
I would say that if you win the lottery and you did go through and followed a majority of these 10 steps that were laid out in Forbes' website there, or in the article on Forbes, I think you'd be all right.
Yeah. Most people don't, though.
That's
the thing. That's they say it. I mean, statistically speaking, most people who win the lottery are broke in 10 years.
Yeah.
So
I know people that have definitely gone through some money before.
Yeah, me too. So
it's and it's unfortunate, and it's one of those things that happens, though.
Yeah.
I wonder what kind of level, what kind of role education plays in all that, also.
Well, I don't know. Because I think it has more to do with where you come from, and I'm not saying like
area.
I'm saying, in terms of how you view your status as a person and where you've been with that. And like you said, there's no guarantee that if you grew up poor and you've been poor and you get all that money, you're gonna spread it out and make it last longer and not spend it all. Because a lot of people would, I guess, but spend it all.
Oh yeah. I'm sure.
But
I'm sure vast majorities.
I don't know. I just know that I've been poor before, and if I ever have that kind of money, I'm going to hold on to it as much as possible. It's kind of I call it the grandfather principle, because it reminds me of my grandfather.
Scrooge McDuck.
Well, because it reminds me of my grandfather. My grandfather grew up in the Depression, and even when he had money, the man didn't spend it on anything.
Yeah.
He wore the same fucking clothes the entire time he was alive. My entire life. I was 38 when he died.
Yeah.
And I never saw him in different clothes than what I knew him to have.
Mm.
Basically, just a line of flannel shirts and corduroy jeans.
Yeah.
That was it. That's all I ever knew him to wear. The man used to push the car. I think I've even mentioned this on the show. He would push the car out of the garage, down the driveway, because it was a relatively long driveway, into the street and start the car in the street because that was burning too much gas to move it, to start it in the garage and back it out.
That's hilarious.
And he kept a brick in the toilet tank to displace the water so it used less water to fill up. And when my dad was a kid, they had to share bath water.
Really?
This is 1960s. They had to share bathwater.
That's funny.
Because showering was a waste of money, waste of water. And when the man died, well, that's a whole other story. But he had a lot of money.
Yeah.
It was stolen from him, but he had a lot of money.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
yeah. So that's what I'm talking about. He knew what it was like to struggle for money, and that created a person who
I think.
He took it too far. I think in many ways.
I think there's a difference though from coming. I think it really depends on the amount of money also, because if you come in like a modest wealth, I think you might still feel that way. But I mean, once you get into like the, hundreds of millions of dollars, those, was it 2 years ago when
it hit $1 billion?
It hit 1.5 billion.
Yeah. And only one person won that.
Yeah, and the lump sum payout was like $900 million. I mean, once you get that kind of money, though, I think you become so detached from the rest of the world and the way that things really work.
I'd really have to evaluate myself, I think, if I won that kind of money. Because at that point, I mean, I wouldn't even know what that would... The payout for that would be something like $30 million a year.
Something like that. But I mean, it's like I would like to believe that I would still be humble and all that. It just, I think when you get to that kind of level of money, though, I think it's just so hard.
After taxes, it'd be about $21 million a year.
Yeah,
for 29 years. Yeah, I don't know. I would hope that I would. If
no, that's.
That 900. Oh no, because that was after taxes.
That's after taxes.
So it was 34 million.
30 some million a year.
39 million, I think it was. Actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, 39 million. It's just more money than anyone fucking needs. I don't know. I think ultimately, if I won that, I'd probably still take the annuity, and I would probably donate 25 million a year.
Yeah. But
I just don't need that much money.
I'm just saying, I think it'd just be really hard to stay connected,
right,
to everything.
It would, because at that point you do have to disconnect. You can't from everything, because that's just too much money.
Yeah.
I'd almost not want that much money. Really,
I would. I mean, it'd be, I would humbly welcome the challenge.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Like I said, I'd probably still take the annuity, and out of, say, 40 million, I'd probably donate at least 30 million of that every year to various charities, because I don't need it. I don't need it. I can live off far less than that.
No, I would still take the lump sum.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I'll.
Well, like I said,
hopefully maybe one day I'll be able to find out.
Right? Yeah. I wouldn't hold my breath. I'm not holding my breath, but
yeah, because to win the lottery, I'd have to play.
Right.
And
exactly.
I don't.
Well, I only was playing the scratch offs that were like $5,000 a week for life.
Yeah.
Which is automatically an annuity, by the way. It's not like if you don't get a check for $5,000 a week. It's a yearly payment for 20 years.
Yeah.
And even though it says for life, it only pays out for 20 years. But $5,000 a week, that's like $250,000 a year.
Yeah.
Before taxes, and even at 30%, you're still well over $100,000. I'd be happy with that.
Yeah.
Are you kidding? That'd be more than enough for me.
That's what our attending physicians make.
Yeah, I mean, that's more than enough.
Well, actually,
now with that kind of money,
that's actually more, but
with that kind of money, I would actually still work. I would still work with that. $100,000 a year.
Oh yeah, because if you're not working and you ain't get insurance or anything like that, that can be gone
real fast,
real quick.
And that's the thing. I'd work for the insurance. I would probably cut my time back, but I would still work for the insurance. So.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could buy your own health insurance.
Yeah. Well,
if there was like some kind of like public option or something like that, I don't know. Maybe it's a crazy idea.
Right.
All right.
Well, that's the one thing, and that was brought up at the last debate. I think it might have been the first. How many of the candidates would get rid of workplace insurance? And all of them raised their hands.
Yeah. See, that's the one thing
I do not like.
That's the one thing they're going to lose on, and that's why when
because I as a liberal person, my insurance is awesome through my job.
Yeah.
Why would I want to get rid of that?
Yeah, and that's the thing, and I think that's so long. Not to get political, because I didn't really want to talk about.
No, I just thought
I did want to say real quick that that's one of the things that Mayor Pete was talking about when at least when I saw him talk about it, was when he said Medicare for all that want it. That's the who want it part of it. Right. He doesn't want if you want to keep your insurance, he wants you to keep your insurance.
Absolutely. And that should be part of it for sure.
But yeah, because our insurance is awesome.
Yeah, it is. It really is. So
I mean, I pay a pretty decent penny for it, but I mean,
yeah. Well, I mean,
you don't just being
because that's just me.
Because it's just you. But
you've got a family to cover.
Yeah.
So just think, that number goes down after. In 3 years, it'll go down. Well, no, I guess because it's until 26.
Yeah, I got another 11 years.
Yeah. Unless Jack
I'll be a nurse by then, so it'd be.
But no, I mean, what if he goes to college, gets a really good job, and doesn't need it after he's 21?
Yeah, I mean, that'd be all right.
Yeah.
We'll see.
He'll get his own. He can work at the hospital. He'll get his own insurance.
Except for he'll be like 22 or 23 by the time he graduates.
Yeah.
Because he started late, so he's a year older than most of the people in his grade. So.
Oh yeah,
because we were living in Tennessee, so.
Yeah.
But anyway,
nothing like the South holding you back.
Bastards.
They've been holding this country back for 150 years.
So anyway, any questions or comments, you email us at contact@lifeandjournalpodcast.com. Check us out on Twitter, Facebook, Podbean. Leave us an iTunes review.
6 stars.
Oh, and check us out on YouTube. I always forget that.
Yeah, give us a like, thumbs up. You can leave comments on YouTube.
You can. Yeah, I don't think we've gotten any, but you can.
Leave comments.
We've got some thumbs up. We haven't got any thumbs down.
Good. Oh, that's good. Good comments, thumbs up. 5 stars on iTunes, 6 stars on iTunes.
Except for there's only 5.
5 stars and a 1 star in the comments.
Oh my God. See, people, this is what I have to deal with on a daily basis. It's just
not a daily basis.
That's true. I haven't seen it in a couple weeks.
I know, so it's been.
I was on vacation. So.
Well, our next schedule, we're like back to back 2 days in the same spot. So.
Oh, great. All right. Well, until next time.
Talk to y'all later.
Peace.
Play my role, let me tell you about it. This shit right here, man, I'm about it. Only real niggas reside around me. Yo, lady, drop a guard around me. Dip like I know you can, bitch. Show me the ropes like we in the ring. Got you 2 cobras, you wanna hang. Shoulder to shoulder, them niggas basic. You know I won't lie. You know that I ain't for that fuck shit. You niggas alright, but I'm way better and she love it. Know that y'all sick as fuck. Here go this tissue, bro. We taking the dub. Hoping you get you some. This hit like a pick me up. She taking my drugs. Know they see the sign. That's some dollar signs. Know they sick as fuck. Know they sick as fuck. Tell them get well soon. Tell them get well soon. Know you sick as fuck.